Now that the recent bourbon boom is finally behind us, what comes next? For several years, we saw many bottles we loved, ones that we always counted on to be available, start to disappear from the shelves. After that, we were forced to look hard for them, often without success. Some of our cherished bottles disappeared completely, perhaps never to return. Some bottles were replaced with younger, often inferior versions of themselves. Other bourbons began to lose their age statements. We weren't happy about it. Sometimes we bought them, and sometimes we didn't. Two of the bourbons here are examples of the strain caused by the boom. Around a decade ago, they were stripped of their age statements so they could be blended with younger bourbon to meet rising demand. And for several years, only the less mature versions of these bourbons were available to us. Over time, though, production began to catch back up, and thankfully their age statements returned, putting a clear and objective marker of maturity back in place. But why does this matter? Isn't whiskey just a drink? Don't you just purchase a bottle, consume it, and move on? But whiskey's not just a drink. It's also an idea. Whiskey's the idea that some things can't become what they were meant to be until after the long passage of time. Take a look at these three bourbons. In many ways, they're the same whiskey. They contain the same basic ingredients. They were distilled in the same distillery. They're even matured in the same type of barrel. But the important difference between them is time. The first one could be as young as 4 years old, and when you taste it, the youth is clear. It carries many of those green woody notes and that putty or plasticky quality that to me is a sign of lack of maturity. Notes I'm used to finding in many so-called craft whiskeys. There is the suggestion of what this bourbon could become, but it's still obscured, insufficiently developed. It's drinkable, sure, but it isn't truly ready. The second bourbon has more evidence of age, as it should. We're beginning to get those signs of caramel, baking spices, and brown sugar. Real enjoyment is starting to become possible. There are still some lingering signs of immaturity, but they aren't significant enough to ruin the experience. The final one here really starts to come into its own, having waited many long years inside a barrel. If there are any youthful notes remaining, they're harder to find. There are plenty of dessert notes with very few unpleasant or off-putting flavors. But it took 9 years to get there. And there's really no real replacement for the wait. You can't force it to age faster by sailing the barrels around the world on a boat, or by strapping them into a roller coaster seat, or by building a hilariously large paint shaker to agitate them. They won't reach the maturity you're looking for faster just by yelling at them, or playing heavy metal music in the warehouse, or by putting them on a float behind a marching band and parading them down the city streets every day. The changes you're looking for come only with time. In a sense, you were the same person at 9 that you were at 4, but there isn't a way for you to go from the maturity level you had at 4 to the one you had at 9 without the slow passage of time. It's the same with whiskey. Time is the final ingredient in this product. It's not just corn and barley and water and yeast and oak. There's no way this bourbon can be in 4 years what it can at 9. And when you distill it, you don't even know for sure whether you'll even be around to enjoy the final product. After all, there are few guarantees in life. You put your new make into your new charred oak barrel and you wait and you trust that someday it's going to become what you know it can be. But you don't know for sure. A lot can happen in 9 years. There could be a warehouse fire that destroys the barrel, not unheard of in whiskey history. You yourself may not be around in 9 years. So if this is the case, why even bother waiting all that time before taking your reward? Why not just consume it today? It wouldn't be unreasonable to do so. You could take the new make you just worked hard to produce and mix it into a cocktail or a long drink, or blend it with herbs or sweeteners. Why not enjoy your reward today, rather than gambling it on an uncertain future? The reason you wait is because even if you did enjoy your reward today, it wouldn't be the same reward. It wouldn't be the one you really want. The reward you really want can only come to you through the passage of time. It comes only after the wait, and after the discomfort of uncertainty. Sure, you could interrupt the process early and try to take your reward before it's ready, like with this 4-year-old bourbon here. And if you did, you might get glimpses of what it could become, but it won't be the same. You'll realize you took it too early. So you continue working and you keep waiting. You trust that your reward will be there for you at the end of the journey, because there's no real alternative. There's no other way to get what you really want. Your real prize exists only in the future, beyond your reach, and patience is the only bridge that takes you there. Because true maturity comes only after the passing of time, and some things can only achieve their full value with age. So as the bourbon boom recedes into the distance, the wait begins. We look forward to seeing old friends become more available as existing stocks age and begin to get older, without having their growth process interrupted by the need to respond to high demand. There's reason to think good things lie in the future, but the wait can still be difficult and sometimes even painful. Distillers will have to work harder in an environment that doesn't have so many eager customers. But this is nothing new. Any Scot will tell you that whiskey has always been a boom and bust industry. There's no reason to think that there won't be another boom coming again, even if it takes us a while to get there. For now, we'll have to look for the good things that exist in the time we're in, while we continue to keep waiting in the hope that our patience and perseverance will be rewarded. It's not a guarantee, but some types of reward can only come after that long struggle through uncertainty. And if you start to feel